What's up, y'all? It's Evan from DMV Sports Zone giving you another update on all things DMV sports. As always, we start with hockey and the Washington Capitals. So for the Capitals, this was a February to forget. Capped off with a 7-4 loss in Buffalo on Sunday, in which they gave up 4 goals in the second period. The loss drops the Caps to 29, 27, and 6, 64 points. They sit at 6th place in the Metropolitan Division. If the season ended today, they would miss the playoffs, and the Capitals cap off the month of February at 2-7. So here's the week ahead for Washington. For the Capitals, the week and the month of March begin on Wednesday when they head to Anaheim to take on the Ducks. The Ducks are currently 19, 34, and 7, 45 points, last place in the Pacific, so if the season ended today, they would miss the playoffs. Anaheim's coming off a 3-2 win in Carolina on Saturday. They've won 2 in a row. This is the last of 2 between the Caps and the Ducks. Anaheim leads the season series 1-0 after beating Washington 4-2 in D.C. on February 23rd. And for the Capitals, the week concludes on Saturday when they head to San Jose to take on the Sharks. The Sharks are currently 18, 30, and 12, 48 points, 7th in the Pacific ahead of only Anaheim, so if the season ended today, they would miss the playoffs. San Jose is coming off a 4-3 shootout loss to the Blackhawks on Saturday. They've lost 2 in a row. This is the last of 2 between the Caps and the Sharks. San Jose leads the season series 1-0 after beating Washington 4-1 in D.C. on February 12th. And now we move over to basketball and the Washington Wizards. So for the Wizards, it was a better month of February than the Caps had, but the bar is kind of low. The last time the Wizards took the court, a 102-82 loss in Chicago on Sunday. The loss drops the Wiz to 28-32. They've lost 2 in a row and sit at the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. So if the season ended today, they would play Toronto in the play-in tournament. And as it stands right now, the Wizards are 4-6 in the month of February. Here's the week ahead for Washington. So for the Wizards, the week begins and the month of February concludes on Tuesday when they head to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. The Hawks come in at 31-30, the 8th seed in the East. If the season ended today, they would play Miami in the play-in tournament. Atlanta's coming off a 129-127 win over the Nets on Sunday. They've won 2 in a row. This is the first of 4 between the Wiz and the Hawks. Last season, Atlanta won 3 out of 4 against Washington. The Wizards will begin the month of March on Thursday when they head home to host the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are currently 30-32, the 9th seed in the East. As stated before, they would play Washington in the play-in tournament if the season ended today. Toronto's coming off a 118-93 loss in Cleveland on Sunday, thanks to 35 points by Donovan Mitchell. This is the first of 3 between the Wiz and the Raptors. Last season, Toronto took 3 out of 4 against Washington. And then on Saturday, the Wizards welcome in those very same Toronto Raptors. No information is different from before other than this would be the second of 3 between the Wizards and the Raptors. And for the Wizards, the week concludes on Sunday when they welcome in the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are currently 43-17, the 2 seed in the East. So if the season ended today, they would play the first play-in team in the first round. Milwaukee's coming off a 104-101 win over the Suns on Saturday. They've won 14 in a row and they're undefeated in the month of February. This is the third of 4 between the Wiz and the Bucks. The season series is tied 1 game apiece. Washington took the first meeting 118-95 in Milwaukee on January 1st. The Bucks returned the favor with a 123-113 victory in Milwaukee just 2 days later on January 3rd. And now we move to college basketball and the 13th ranked Virginia Cavaliers. So Virginia, turns out, they're mortal. A 71-63 loss at North Carolina on Saturday is what happened last time they took the court. The loss drops the Cavaliers to 21-6, 13-5 in the ACC. They've lost 2 in a row and sit in 3rd place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, Virginia is a 4 seed, and the Cavaliers are currently 4-3 in the month of February. So here's the week ahead for the Wahoos. For Virginia, the week begins and the month of February concludes on Tuesday when they return home to host the Clemson Tigers. Clemson comes in at 21-8, 13-5 in the ACC, 4th place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, Clemson is in the next 4 out. The Tigers are coming off a 96-71 win at NC State on Saturday. They've won 2 in a row. This is the only meeting this season between Virginia and Clemson. And for Virginia, the regular season concludes on Saturday with Senior Day against the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville is currently 4-25, 2-16 in the ACC, last place in the conference standings. Obviously, as of the latest bracketology, Louisville is not in the field. The Cardinals are coming off an 83-67 loss at Georgia Tech on Saturday. They've lost 2 in a row. This is the only meeting this season between Virginia and Louisville. Up next, let's talk about the 21st ranked Maryland Terrapins. So Maryland, they had a strong senior day outing, a 75-59 win over number 21 Northwestern on Sunday. The win improves the Terrapins to 20-9, 11-7 in the Big Ten. They've won 2 in a row and sit in second place in the conference standings behind only Purdue. As of the latest bracketology, Maryland is a 7 seed and the Terrapins conclude the month of February at 5-2. So here's the week ahead for the Terps. For Maryland, the week and the month of March begin on Wednesday when they head to Columbus to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State comes in at 12-17, 4-14 in the Big Ten, 13th place in the conference standings ahead of only Minnesota. Obviously, as of the latest bracketology, Ohio State is not in the field. The Buckeyes are coming off a 72-60 win over Illinois on Sunday, thanks to 20 points by Bruce Thornton. This is the last of 2 between Maryland and Ohio State. The Terrapins lead the season series 1-0 after beating the Buckeyes 80-73 in College Park on January 8th. And for Maryland, the regular season concludes on Sunday when they head to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State is currently 17-12, 8-10 in the Big Ten, 12th place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, Penn State is in the first 4 out. The Nittany Lions are coming off a 59-56 loss against Rutgers on Sunday, despite 16 points by Cameron Winter. This is the last of 2 between Maryland and Penn State. The Terrapins lead the season series 1-0 after beating the Nittany Lions 74-68 in College Park on February 11th. Up next, let's talk about the Virginia Tech Hokies. So for Virginia Tech, there's no other way to say it other than they had their chance and they blew it. An 81-65 loss at Duke on Saturday is what happened last time they took the court. The loss drops the Hokies to 16-13, 6-12 in the ACC. They've lost 2 in a row and sit in 12th place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, Virginia Tech is not in the field, and currently the Hokies are 3-4 in the month of February. Here's the week ahead for Tech. For Virginia Tech, the week begins and the month of February concludes on Tuesday when they head to Louisville to take on the Louisville Cardinals. You've heard about these guys earlier. Louisville is 4-25, coming off an 83-67 loss at Georgia Tech on Saturday. And this is the only meeting this season between Virginia Tech and Louisville. And for Virginia Tech, the regular season concludes on Saturday when they return home for Senior Day against the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State is currently 9-20, 7-11 in the ACC, 11th place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, obviously, Florida State is not in the field. The Seminoles are coming off an 85-84 upset win at number 13 Miami on Saturday, in which they overcame a 25-point deficit to win. This is the only meeting this season between Virginia Tech and Florida State. And finally, let's talk about the Georgetown Hoyas. So for Georgetown, Senior Day went about as well as the rest of the season has gone, an 88-68 loss against number 20 Providence. The loss drops the Hoyas to 7-23, 2-17 in the Big East. They've lost 2 in a row and sit in last place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, obviously Georgetown is not in the field, and the Hoyas conclude the month of February at 1-7. Here's the week ahead for G-Town. For Georgetown, the regular season concludes on Wednesday when they head to Omaha to take on the Creighton Blue Jays. Creighton comes in at 18-11, 12-6 in the Big East, 4th place in the conference standings. As of the latest bracketology, Creighton is a 5 seed. The Blue Jays are coming off a 79-67 loss at Villanova on Saturday. They've lost 2 in a row. This is the last of 2 between Georgetown and Creighton. The Blue Jays lead the season series 1-0 after beating the Hoyas 63-53 in D.C. on February 1st. And that'll do it for this update. But before I go, big shout out to the DC Defenders who won 18-6 in Vegas this past week, and they've started the season 2-0. And we've got plenty of good content this week coming from Noah, Nadia, and Abdullah. And until next time, I'm Evan from DMV Sports Zone signing off.